This program is designed to provide general information with regards to the subject matters covered. This information is given with the understanding that neither the hosts, guests, sponsors, or station are engaged in rendering any specific and personal, medical, financial, legal, counseling, professional service, or any advice. You should seek the services of competent professionals before applying or trying any suggested ideas.
All right, here we are live. If it's Tuesday, it is movie reviews and more around the world on Worldwide TV Network, womenontv.tv.tv, iTunes 247 out of Franklin, Tennessee, and iHeartRadio, Pandora, Spotify, Amazon, and everything else. So this is going to be a very interesting show because I'm co-hostless. So you all get to be the co-host besides yesterday, including my engineer, Roxy. Never done that one before. And Terry's going to pop. Yeah, see? And Terry's going to pop in later. Nick may come in. He's working on something out of India for us. But I've been looking forward to the show, not only because we have Unforgettable Fire back, Roger in the house, which is important to me because I love what he's created, but we have another inventor. And I'm going to have everybody introduce themselves, including a filmmaker. And it's funny. I booked Christina, and I forgot that she was coming on until 4 o'clock this morning. Thank God that she told me, because I was like, everybody's coming on the show. And I'm like, I have no room. However, I did not know I was not going to have any women co-hosts tonight. So it's always the first. So Roxy, you're my co-host for the night. Well, I'm going to make you one anyhow. So here we go. I got to start with Amy first because we've only met really last week. She's really, really interesting. I love Bubblehuts. I love what she's doing. I love the fact that she's an entrepreneur, a CEO, founder, and inventor. Amy, who are you and where are you coming from?
Hi, I'm Amy Kaiserman of Bubblehuts LLC. I'm currently in Phoenix, Arizona area. I'm the Bubble Lady.
And I love the stuff I'm sure Roxy's gonna pull something up because I love what you created, and they take a while to do. And you know why? Because they don't just make mass productions of these things. They're all right. I'm not even gonna say, Amy. I'm gonna let you explain it. Go ahead.
Okay. My team and I have been designing and manufacturing glamping tents, which are commonly called a bubble tent, but we make a brand called Bubblehuts. And so what I do is I work with individuals that are looking to earn additional income by purchasing a bubble tent, either creating their own glamping site or an Airbnb. So what we do is we design each individual one for those people, those individuals, to meet the needs that they have for their businesses.
And I love that. I have to say this: environmentally friendly, sustainable, everything that I love about companies, which leads me to Roger next. So here's the thing. Been talking to Rogers, I think, a little bit over a year and a half now. I love his Katydid. I love the Kimberly. I love the fact that he's an entertainer. He's a drummer like myself. He does a lot of things. I love his tiny house when he's going cross country. Roger, let's talk about this. What is special about your wood stoves that makes them the best? I feel the best, and they are the best in the entire country, if not the world. Talk about your company. Go ahead.
Well, I think the old adage, necessity is the mother of invention, certainly fits here. I was living on a boat with an ex-wife and her 9-year-old daughter and a big dog. We weren't living there because we were having fun. We lost everything in the 2008 recession. And God humbled us. God humbled me especially. Ended up living on this boat, and the child one night said, "I'm sick and tired of being cold." Hungry kind of went with it too, by the way. And so I got in a big fight with the good Lord. Now I said some stupid things, and he put a challenge in front of me. It's the only wood stove that I'm aware of in its class that's really designed for the tiny house, boating, RVs. And as we all know, A lot of folks are downsizing right now. Things are difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Things are really tough. So we just kind of did it 10 years early. But the Kimberly wood stove is the only small one to ever get certified. And we're in the process of recertification, which is kind of a pain in the neck and expensive, but it's what you go through when you're an inventor. As I'm sure Amy can tell you, there's lots of stuff you go through as an inventor, right?
Yeah.
But we also have, and we have not been able to bring this to production yet, which is kind of sad, but we have the ability to produce electricity and hot water, as well as cook, bake, and heat from these stoves. They're extremely clean, have a very dainty appetite, and at 56 pounds, 25 inches tall and 10 in diameter, they make a really great bug out stove, and they make a great glamping stove, by the way. So
Exactly.
plug there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you. Yeah, it's been an interesting journey. That's no doubt about that one.
All right, so Christina, as that filmmaker, after all, it is called Movie Reviews and More, and I can adapt the stuff even at 4 o'clock in the morning because I'm up early doing stuff, and everybody around the world will tell you because I call them in the other countries. The fun thing about this, so here, and I always put this challenge out to people. She reached out to me on LinkedIn. I get a lot of messages from around the world on certain things. She goes, "Would you mind taking a look at my film?" And I said, "Okay." She's a woman. She reached out to me. She's a filmmaker. I said, "Of course. Why not?" All right, Christina, you're here. You're live. Let's talk about your film. Go ahead.
And I just want to say that was amazing. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna figure out the first person that I can see, and then you came up as the top person in LinkedIn, and I reached out to you, and I was so impressed that I think within a little over an hour and a half, you just said, "Hey, I watched your film. I liked it. Come on live with us." So I first just want to say, that was so impressive to me. And so Bride Plus One, I play a 39-year-old Latina that has never been married and really wants kids. So she decides that she's going to throw herself her own wedding. The only trouble is she does not have that little insignificant detail of a groom. So she figures if she builds it, he will come. And it's a romantic comedy with almost an entirely Latino ensemble cast and a lot of crew too. So yeah, I'm really proud of it. It's playing on Amazon Prime and many other places. If you go to brideplusone.com, you can see all the different places that it's playing. But yeah, I'm just really, really proud of it, and I'm very grateful to you, Brian, for checking it out.
Oh, well, I'm thank you for the hey, you came in and then you also decided, hey, let's do this and made it work. So, hey, I have to stay ahead of these things. And again, finding these great companies, these filmmakers, these films and everything like that. And she fit into the class of, I call it this, Female Fitness Friday. So that applies to a female filmmaker, producer, director, and everything. Amy, you know what this is like. These are creators, these are all the stuff. And then, so Christina, when you get a chance to see what Unforgettable Fire is and what Amy has created, these are the things that you could possibly use in your next film because, again, environmentally friendly, sustainable. Everybody needs these things. And then we got to get to Roxy. We got to talk to Roxy because Roxy's coming up. She's got her own show called R.n.nation, her and Ant-Man. And it's one of those things I actually chime into and watch the shows. Like I don't have enough things to do, but I do watch your show when I get a chance to on Monday. So all right, so Roxy, you get a chance to say who you are, and then I know Terry's waiting behind the scenes.
Okay, so I'm Roxy. I'm producing the show right now, so I'm like multitasking. So forgive me if I'm not 100% in the conversation, but I'm doing what I can. And that's what I do with my own show too with r.n.nation. I'm the producer and the host, and my co-host Ant-Man. We are in the music industry, and we like to address the new age because things have changed, and it's a virtual world these days, right? It's everything's virtual. I've actually witnessed an entire album recorded through Zoom. So
wow.
Where are we going from there? So with my show, I want to have everybody on board on the same page to kind of like flow into this new world together. So you'll have to check it out at r.n.nation at the Music Familia Productions on YouTube. So yeah.
So Roger, here's another thing, because Roxy didn't get a chance to ask you the last time you were on, and if I remember correctly, Roxy, it was it good for cars or boats or something like that? The Katydid and the Kimberly. The answer is yes, but it was one of those things that you wanted to know because you're always going to conventions, right?
Yeah, so with the camper RV setup, I have a kind of a bus setup. I do these expos with reptiles and whatnot. That's my other business that I do. I'm always busy. But with this expo with the reptiles, I have to keep them warm. I can't. So in the winter, I don't want them cold, and in the summer, I don't want them too hot and burning up. So I want to keep a steady temperature. And so I was questioning how I can convert that and make that a steady temperature. And would that be, accessible and obtainable with what you have going on?
The first thing that we always try to do is we spend a lot of time with every single client. I know that's kind of weird in today's world, but we feel it's really best to ask tons of questions before we ever even get to a sales point. So what we'd want to do is get pictures of your vehicle, get an understanding of the insulation values that are present. And if it's a bus, we've done so much of this kind of stuff. I can pretty much tell you what needs to be done. So we want to have a very tight envelope to retain the heat. Then we want to figure out your fueling and your installation so that you will know how many hours between fuel loads you can go, because I understand what you're trying to do. In fact, I used to have iguanas, sorry, and I knew you had to keep a pretty even temperature for them. But we would handle this the same way we do all of our clients. We spend a lot of time on the phone up front. We really find out what you think you need and what you think you want, because it's not always in line. And then we help explain to you the differences. And then we look at each case. Where's this product going? What needs to happen to the environment this product is going to be set in so that you get the results that you're after? To us, it takes a little bit more time up front in the sales process, but boy, does it make life easier after the sale, because that's where, in my mind, a great product is garbage without really good follow-up, really good customer support. And I think that's the best thing that we do, honestly. I think it's even better than the product line itself. But you're more than welcome to give a call at any point in time.
He answers the phone.
I answer the phone personally. You'll either get myself or Vanessa Kelly. We will answer the phone personally. And if it's Vanessa, she knows, oh my God, that woman has learned so much in the last 9 years. She's amazing. If there's something that comes her way she's not sure of, we're on the phone 8, 9, 10 times a day, always consulting back and forth on projects. So don't hesitate to reach out, make contact, and let's talk very in-depthly of what you need. And we probably get some pictures and things from you and start making recommendations. And then if everything works, it works.
And Roxy, I know you're busy doing many things. Terry's on with us, but if you can show the Kimberly or the Katydid if you get a time, that'll be cool, because I want Amy to see it. Because again, going to Amy now, she's an inventor, so you're gonna hear a little bit of the things that she has done, because she's fascinating to me, and I really, Amy, I really enjoy our talks when we get a chance to talk on the phone. So this is what Roger's created. I love what he's done with these things, and you know what? They're both named after women. He's going to tell that story when we come back to you. So, Amy, we're going to you next, and then we're going to go to Christina. So, Amy, talk about why the things that you've created are important to you, and then we got to get into your door shield, because I've been telling everybody about that.
Okay. Well, the whole glamping thing is important to me, really, because, well, two things. One, I got into business after I went through a divorce after 20 years. But I tried to figure out what was I going to do next and stuff. And I saw these incredible tents for the very first time overseas. And they're incredible. When you sleep under the stars in these, I'm all about eco-friendly. I'm all about let's preserve the night sky. Let's preserve the nature around us. I try to add benefit to people's lives by allowing a method in which they can sleep under the stars. I mean, I even personally took one of my tents up north just recently, and I'm still blown away. And I've been making these tents now for 7 years. Yeah, it's just my door shield thing was a whole nother thing. I started making bubble tents or under the brand Bubblehuts in 2018. I've been making them, like I said, for 7 years, but I got a trademarked brand in 2019. And my daughter then in COVID season, well, first of all, let me back up for a moment. In 2020, like everyone else, was hit hard by COVID. And my company, I watched my company go from tripling in 1 year to nothing in 8 months. And, because of the pandemic, everything shut down, the marketing companies, the event companies, everyone. I mean, it didn't matter what it was. My business wasn't doing anything. And so my team and I were like, well, what can we do to help? We got to do something. We got to do something not only to help the people around us in our community, but also a way to help each other and to be able to help one another, to stay in business and to pay our incomes. And so first we did a face shield project where we made 10,000 face shields for our county's health department. And so that was a real blessing, and it really got us through and sustained us. But then my daughter got COVID, and she was hospitalized in serious critical condition. The only thing that saved her was that antibody treatment. And thank God they had that, because it did save her life. But then they sent her home after a week in the hospital, and they're like, okay, well, now you got to continue her care at home. And as a mom, I didn't want to isolate my child again, because I had already been away from her for over a week. And I can only do this kind of interaction with her in the hospital. And of course, when you're with somebody who's critically ill, you can't really communicate. So when she came home, I'm like, no, I'm going to see her. I've got to be around her. And so then that's when it's like I was sitting in the car, and I just had this idea like, oh my gosh, I should make a shield that goes over the rooms of the bedroom where she's going to be, but yet be able to see her and use the same materials that I use within the construction of my tent. And so I created this door shield, and I was on the news with it. I was written about and I got to see my daughter. So as you see in this photo here, that's the plastic material that I've also used to create the door shields with. That's one of my tents. That's my client in Switzerland with their tent. So that's Puerto Rico. That's my client in Puerto Rico. I have my product all over the world. That's Abu Dhabi.
I want that one. We're going to have that one. Terry, we're going to have that one on our ranch. I already decided. And I
really
like that one too.
You like that one?
Yeah. I told, hey, Roger,
amazing.
I told her I need 10 tents. I'm going to have 10 of these different ones. I'm not sure which one she's going to create yet, but you know what? I don't know if the Katydid can go inside it or whatever, but I'm going to try it. So I don't know. You think I'm kidding? No.
I think you'd want to look more at the Kimberly, or you will sweat yourself out of there.
Yeah,
so.
they're easy. We have preheaters and stuff. So because our air system, we preheat them, we cool them, we put bathrooms in them, real bathrooms with plumbing. We do it all.
Can I ask how the thermal settings are with it and how you regulate temperatures?
There's an internal setting within the in the air filter system, and so there's thermostat control like you would in your home.
Wonderful, amazing! I'm sold.
So, Christina, as that filmmaker, what are you looking at? What are you thinking about? You see a next film in here?
Well, yeah, I'm thinking, okay, I don't have a sci-fi, but that would be kind of sci-fi-ish. That would be really cool.
It could be fun. It could be real fun. They're amazing. And we've seen people do amazing things in them. I mean, people use them for more than glamping. I've had people put a whole themed environment inside of them for like an event and things. So
cool.
I say they're a blank canvas. That's what I call them.
Yeah. I also do some creative direction for Mikello.com. And so I'm just loving the, intersection of green energy and what can be created,
It's amazing.
This world. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the connections. Beautiful.
All right, so everyone, one of my co-hosts showed up.
Yay!
Terry was having, connection problems.
Yeah, I was having issues with the internet. You know how that goes. So my iPad, for some reason, was not connecting. So I apologize, but I'm here. So how's everybody doing?
Hello.
You're
Hello.
doing good. So Roger, now that
Yeah.
you've seen the bubble hunts, what do you think of those? And
I love them.
how would this go with the Kimberly or the Katydid? Would it can we do it like that? Will it work?
I'm getting the sense you'd probably have to be in a fairly cold environment to want to do it. It sounds like these are pretty easy to heat. She's probably got a pretty good system going. Now, is that let's say you're glamping really, really far off grid.
Yeah.
What are you doing about heating and cooling for those that are not?
Well, they have to have. Well, I don't supply the solar power systems, but I know some of my clients have solar power. They work with engineers and things, so then they just plug in my system into the whatever they had developed.
Okay.
Yeah. So they are made. I mean, I have people who are on major power grids, solar, solar and battery. It just depends on what they have available at their site.
Right. Right.
So Roger, we will be on both, and like I said, this is going to be in Mariposa. So I want these are some of the things I'm going to be showcasing on the Dreamweaver Artist Wrench. These things like this. So Christina, as that filmmaker, when the filmmakers come up, you guys will have access to certain things like this. This is why I want these things. I'm not kidding when I say it's going to be between Disneyland, Sundance, Lucas Skywalker Ranch, the Met Center in New York, and the Banff Center in Alberta, Canada. It's a combination of all of them.
I love it.
And yes, and so LG, Go Sun, all of these products will be on there. So that's with that. So Christina, going to your film.
Yes.
And yes, and obviously a Dreamweaver Artist Wrench, and this is really, really important. I have to always ask everybody to reach out and support that because we're in our fundraiser stage of this too. This is one of the things that we're doing this, and we created even a new logo on that. And I couldn't be happier for my partner Montague on creating these things. So, Christina, talk about this. You have, and there's Fractured Atlas. There's the link for anybody who would love to donate. And again, when you donate, you'll see what you're creating because everything goes into our ranch. So, Christina, when you're directing stuff, when you're coming up for locations, you're thinking of things that you can get, things that you can utilize at that independent, that indie filmmaker. It's not easy to get things that you need to have, and as an independent filmmaker, it's difficult, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And that's why I shot some of it in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and some of it out in Los Angeles. A couple of reasons. One, there aren't that many Latino actors in Michigan. So all of the bigger scenes with more cast members, I shot out in LA, and then the interiors in Michigan. And it's also just very different. Out in LA, you have to have permits, and everyone's sick of having people around them filming. And in Michigan, they bake you cookies. Come on in, yes, please use our home, that kind of thing. So I try to make use of anything that I can.
See, and I love the story about this woman wanting to get married in a certain part of time. I thought the premise was going to be stupid, but you made it work, and that's what I liked about it because it did work, and you actually played, I think, yourself in that. That's what I also found fascinating.
Well,
Talk
yes
about that.
and no. I actually wasn't planning on being in the role at all. About 2 months prior, a girlfriend that I had wrote the role for was going for her PhD, and she said, I just can't do it. So I was like, oh, I do not want to both be behind the camera and in front of the camera. And I said, in 2 months, there's no way I can get down to camera weight. But I went, you know what? If it was another actress who was this weight, I would hire her. And it's just because it's me that I am so insecure. So what I had to do, I went ahead and said, okay, I'll play the role. And I would have to watch it one time and just kind of criticize myself. Because I don't know if you, like, when you see a picture of yourself, don't you always go to the part that bothers you? I don't know, maybe it's just me. But anyway, so I have to have to watch the scene once and just get that all out of my brain and then watch it again for the scene. to make sure that it worked for the vision of the piece. And luckily, I was with such talented people. We got really incredible actors. James Duval, who I've worked in, I think he's been in 3 of my films now, and I'd work with him again. And just an amazing cast of people that the very first night when we all got together to shoot the scene where she tells all of her family members that she's going to get married, she just doesn't know to whom. It was like immediate, like we just all felt like family right away. And that was really cool for the rest of the shoot.
Talk about this. It's always a problem with locations. It's always a problem now with housing. How do you do certain things? And then food. And again, talk about those aspects of what you were shooting like, because it's even more different because now you have COVID-19 restrictions.
Right.
Talk about what you had to deal with, because not everybody knows these things.
Right. Well, for me, luckily we weren't shooting during COVID, so I didn't have to deal with that specifically. But I mean, I roped in my uncle, my aunt, could you cook for us in these days? I asked a couple of restaurants if they could sponsor us for certain days. You just kind of got to get creative. And as an example, one of the locations that I used in return, we have a little sign there that says, Bride Plus One was featured here. So I try to do as much cross promotion as I can because, it's so much different than documentary filmmaking. With the documentary, you have everything there and you're shooting it. With a narrative, you are creating, it's like creating a city. And so you have to kind of be the mayor of that town and go, okay, can I use this? If I let you use this, will you let me use this? And just kind of make it work as a guerrilla indie filmmaker.
So, Amy, have you had any of your tents ended up in any TV series yet or any movies yet that you're aware of?
I know they have been in certain film productions and that. I don't know the list exactly. Like believe it or not, my first client was MTV. So I've had the privilege of working with them on 3 different occasions.
That's good.
Because I'm so worried, or not worried, but just so much into the production part that I have things going everywhere that I don't really know exactly how they're being used all the time.
Talk about custom making them. Why is that important, and is there a linked amount of time and how it takes, or there is no time? You're making it, specialty, right?
Yeah, we make them one at a time. They're handcrafted here in Glendale, Arizona. We custom make them, and I wanted to be custom made because I didn't want it to be something that was a commodity just pulled off a shelf. I wanted it to really serve the purpose of the people that are buying them from me. I wanted them to have quality. I wanted them to have exactly what they needed in this product. I wanted them to have it to where it would, long term. I mean, my longest client, I've been in business, like I said, 7 years now. And I know there's a lady who just finished using it for 6 years. So, it's funny because I get people asking me, well, what's the warranty? How long does it really last? And I'm like, well, all I could tell you is how long my longest client's been, and that's, this 6 years. And just like, Roger had mentioned, my team too, we're very committed to our clients. And so we don't just, like I said, we don't just sell them a product. It's not something you order on Amazon. This is something we walk you through completely, where we are helping you with even making decisions on how to run your glamping business. So we go beyond just making the tent, but we make sure that we help guide them in the whole process of becoming a glamping host or an Airbnb host so that they can create their own businesses with it.
So, Roger, talk about... Oh, go ahead, Roger.
Can I get a suggestion here real quick?
Yeah.
Christina, I've actually talked to a number of people along this wavelength, if you will. In fact, we got to go to Sundance last year and hang out, and we were invited there for business. And then we're like, oh my God, we're at Sundance. We had no idea where we were being invited to. We just were given an address, and there we were. But I was chatting with some people there. I've also talked to other folks that are doing movies, books, things like that. And one thing that strikes me, and Brian, you already brought up the whole shadow of COVID, which has been a real problem. One thing that strikes me, and I would love to see somebody with the kind of passion that you have and the capacity to be the mayor of the small town. What Amy's working on, what my team's been working on, what 10% of the population is still working. I'd love to see some kind of a documentary, not necessarily about any one person by any means, but about these groups of groups. These, in my circle, we call it Freedom to Thrive, which brings together my West Coasties and my East Coasties now that I've moved across the country. We're a bunch of independent businesses, but we all act as one. We all have this future goal. We all have things in mind. And some of the stories of some of these people, if you could meet my web designer and hear about how she got my attention in the wackiest way you'd ever want to go about. And it wouldn't normally work with anybody, but it did with me. And to tell the stories of these small teams that just wouldn't let anything get in their way. And I don't care what anybody else's spiritual realm is all about. I'm good with just about anything. But for me, God handed me a team. God handed me a purpose. God handed me a journey. And, you know, it's cool that I get to be the top of the triangle. But at the same time, that means that, as Jesus did in the Bible, you're washing feet, baby. He got on his knees and he washed feet.
Right.
And this whole thing about how do you build a family? How do you build a team? How do you love on these people? How do you thank them for making mistakes? How do you grow something out of nothing? The little engine that could. These stories need to be told because more people these days that are feeling down on their luck. Some of these people, all they need is some motivation to hear a great story that came true. And folks like Amy, she's shaking her head. She knows. I can tell. She's been in the trenches. So
I think, you know, and it could even be not even so much a documentary. I just think more narrative. Like I have a film that's called Rainbow Warriors, and it's about these 7 kids that come together to save the planet. And, you know, I'm thinking that if we could use all of these different stories, because that's the way I feel about Charlie Johnson, who works Mackello. He's the founder of Mackello. I feel like he's building an ark. You know, these people are building a new way of life so that as the old way crumbles, there is a raft to go on, right? So it would be interesting to present all of these ideas in something kind of narrative where it will help people envision the future, the possibility, and give them hope, because so we're inundated with, you know, the doom and gloom of the end of the world. But, you know, how can we focus on sustainability, you know, and how can we put up images of our lives thriving in the future so that we have something that we can be working toward.
Hope
It's
is
called
that keyword.
It's called the Dreamweaver Artist Ranch. That's why I wanted Amy on. That's why Roger's coming back. You know, it's that time of the year where the wood stoves start to getting. The climate is changing around the world. That's why I wanted filmmakers on that, like Christina. That's why I had you come on. I never throw somebody on like this. It's that time. It's that time where the stories need to be told. Roger's coming on 2 more times before the end of the year, and he's busy right now. But the thing is, I want people to know about Unforgettable Fire. I want people to hear his story and how 2 women, you know, he named them, the Katydid and the Kimberly. Roger, tell that story, why it's important, why you named it after 2 women.
Well, the Kimberly was, as I said before, I didn't invent it thinking I was going to sell it. This was to save my family from freezing to death on a boat. And it wasn't pretty. I was very humbled at the time living on a boat. and one of our former clients from my wood stove shop that died in the 2008 recession came to the boat dock asking to see the stove. And I was embarrassed to accept her as a visitor on our boat because it was just an old junky boat, you know. And I told her that, and she said, I didn't come to see the boat, I came to see the stove. And she walked on board and was just pretty wowed by it, which kind of wowed me. And then she said, what I want you to do is call an attorney and find out what a patent search is going to cost. And we're going to take you to that attorney and we're going to write the check for the patent search. I had no idea what that even meant or why she was bugging me about it or why people were sailing from miles and miles away. One guy sailed from Anacortes to Vashon, which I think is 120 miles or something. But these people were coming out of the woodwork, and Kimberly was the most impactful because she really wanted me to do something with it. And she showed me an article from the New Yorker magazine about third world countries and how children were dying at young ages from emphysema and cancer from mama would cook a meal in the little hut inside on an open fire. It was the saddest thing you ever saw. And I'm one of these kind of people that you just, if a child is in danger, I'm going to go do whatever I have to do to help that child. So anyway, we went to the talks to patent attorney and I found out how much it was going to be. And I was like, no. I'm never going to be able to pay you back. Are you crazy? This is nuts. I don't even want to do this. She said, no, you've been handed a journey. We're going to do this and you're not paying it back. You're paying it forward. Well, her name was Kimberly. So after we got most of the way through the certification process, I asked her if I could name the stove after her, and she agreed. And then I was very driven to get another one out because people wanted something with more power for a larger home than Kimberly's really made for. And I decided I wanted to name it after my mother. Her name is Katie. And I tell all my friends, I can't stand up and show you, but what she did, Katie kicked me in the butt here and there. And well, thank you, Mom, if you're able to watch this right now. That's why that stove's named after you, because you're awesome. My mom has been really awesome. And unfortunately now we live on opposite sides of the country and I miss my family back west, but this is where I needed to be. Can I plug two things real quick?
Roger, you can do anything.
Go
ahead.
Most of the people around me will tell you that in the last few weeks, I've reverted to 15 years of age, but I still get to keep the knowledge that I've amassed over the last few years. The way this happened, and everybody look this up. I was a complete disbeliever in this, but you brought up kind of New World, and that's what brought my mind to this one. TheWaterActivator.com. We treat our water with a Tesla coil powered electrical charging system that negatively ionizes water, creates H3O, which gets into your cells and cleanses. And oh my God, I have turned into like this bouncing off the wall day and night. Can't get enough done because I just can't quit. I got to do more. And there's a festival here locally. I'm in North Carolina. Those that don't know, Burnsville, North Carolina. There's a festival coming up centered around this water. And you can look it up, truthseekerswaterfestival.com. And we're really excited about a lot of stuff. I'll be bringing music and stuff. Of course, we're all worried that COVID could be a problem still, but I think it's going to be all right. I think it'll all go. But I'll be bringing two different bands, a brand new PA system, a lot of energy, a presentation from the wood stove thing, but more really about building family, building team. I really don't want to talk about my product that much. I want to talk about how do we build team? How do we build family? Because that's where you're really going to serve. And that's how you're going to succeed. So yes, I think, Christina, you brought up kind of new world paradigms, and you are absolutely right. This is a very exciting Goosebump City time. And all I can tell people is go try out this water. Look this up, thewateractivator.com. Try this stuff out. The machines aren't cheap, but trust me, doctor bills are more expensive, and you'll love what you do.
Is it I have a question about the water because I'm a fitness competitor, so I'm always drinking pH water. So is it it's a pH balance, um, alkaline water, or is it?
No, you would want to have your. In fact, we don't draw from city water at all. We have a well, we're on a well, and we use a Berkey that has colloidal silver filled
Yeah.
cartridges. So the water's very pure by the time it comes in. That needs to go. Sorry. I really can't.
These inventors.
Yeah.
The
I
natural
don't think I
filament.
can speak to pH and alkaline. I think that's already done by the time it comes to the machine.
Uh-huh.
But what the machine is literally doing is negatively ionizing a
Uh-huh.
charge within the water to the
Okay.
point. I'm not kidding you. If you take a bottle of this water and stick your finger in it, you're going to get a zap. Like you take a balloon and comb your hair with it, and then you touch your friend on the nose and they get a zap. It's just like that. You actually will surprise yourself now. And I was refilling the Berkey and I zapped myself. It's kind of interesting, but it's a negative ion charge that creates H3O. And the shape of the H3O molecule will get into the human cell,
Mm-hmm.
whereas H2O kind of bounces off. So you're really not pulling the toxicity out of those cells.
Mm-hmm.
And in the last few weeks, it's just, I mean, for the first week, I was annoying. My mother was like, "Are you on drugs?" Yeah, man, this water's killer stuff. And then I kind of
Mm-hmm.
evened out a bit, but I don't get tired. I do need to sleep 5-6 hours a night, but I don't mentally get tired. It's really a trip. You got to try this out.
I'd like to. I mean, because I'm big into, actually the pH water, and then I do a lot of like saunas. So just being a fitness competitor, it's like very important to me to make sure my body's always pH. I try to eat a lot of green vegetables, and that's just kind of my
Right.
lifestyle. So, and I notice a difference too. If I'm not drinking the water that's alkaline, and when I don't, and people don't really realize like how much toxic stuff is in water, and even the plastic bottles. If you leave that in your car, that's toxic.
Well, Terry, that's why we have the asthmatic water on the
Yep.
plant on Dreamweaver. We have all the stuff. You guys will see when you come, and then we have those bottles that environmentally friendly. We have some really good wooden bottles that are really, really good, just like our wood gym that we have. So we got a bunch of these things. When you guys come visit next year, you'll see stuff that we have that we're setting up. That's what makes this show special. And again, going back to Amy on this, you know what it's like as that entrepreneur, that inventor of what you created for that door for your daughter. You would have done anything for your daughter, right? And you did.
Absolutely. Yeah,
They're
absolutely.
motivators.
Definitely. And that, and the thing is when after I, did it with my daughter, I really wanted to offer that to then the world, because I knew what I had gone through with my family. And, a lot of people, with the quarantines and the isolations, especially last year, there was so much depression too. And,
Mm-hmm.
not only for the person who's sick, who's isolated, but then for the loved ones who aren't able to be near them too. I mean, that's a whole nother struggle that you have. So that's why I was like, I cannot separate myself from my 19-year-old child. I can't. I'm sorry. She's going to be able to see me, able to see her dogs. And she did. And, there's some pictures, I'm sure online. I'm not sure exactly where right now, but I know there's some with you. You can find her. My daughter's sitting on the carpet in her bedroom on the other side of this door shield, and her one dog is there with her, looking at her through it. So, I'm definitely all about, making sure that you can be with your loved ones. I wanted to have a way to share it to help other families with their loved ones.
Amy, give your social media sites.
Well, if you look up Bubblehuts or Bubblehuts LLC, I'm everywhere. It's everywhere.
I can tell you that she's right. I just looked up a little bit ago.
Yeah.
And that's what I wanted.
Yeah.
So Terry, tell them what you do and give your social media sites.
Okay. Well, I've been co-hosting with Brian for, was it like 7 years now? So red carpet, interviewing, hosting. Then I compete in fitness competitions, and then I told Brian about this now that I'm starting to do some artwork, and I'm creating my own NFTs. So that will be announced. I'm working on a series right now, but I don't want to get too much into it because I just started it. So I showed Brian a couple of pieces I did. So
I liked it. I thought it was good.
Yeah, well, you'll see. I'm gonna be
Hey,
putting it up.
it's called the Dreamweaver Artist Ranch, Terry.
That's
It's
for a
not
reason,
anything that we
yes.
don't have.
Mhm.
All right, Roxy, give a plug for your show and your social media links.
Okay, so I can say is look up Music Familiar Productions on YouTube or Facebook or IG or Twitter and TikTok. I'm on all those as well as other things. You can find me on W4CY or Talk 4 TV because that's what I do.
Exactly. And she's very, very good at that. So, Roger, give yours. Christina, you get the last word tonight.
I've avoided most of it. Sorry. But online, unforgettableFireLLC.com. For those that are into tiny houses, unforgettabletinihouse.com. Locally, we're known as Wandering Brushes Chimney Sweeps.com. But I'm sorry, I kind of have become more of a hermit. I stay away from too much social media because there's too much stuff that isn't fun anymore on it. And I wish people would be nicer. Facebook used to be a blast. It was a great way to advertise the businesses when they were first starting out. But
it's all right, Roger. I find your hashtags and I share them all the time.
Thank you. Thank you. Everybody's welcome to do that.
Yeah, he's got it. That's how I find him on Instagram. I find Unforgettable Fire hashtags.
I get a lot of things sent to me. Sometimes I'm really surprised. It shocks me when I go into YouTube and I see the Kimberly, especially Kimberly videos or pictures. There was, speaking of domes and stuff, there was one way up in BC where you have to get a helicopter ride to go heli-skiing. And they had this giant dome. It was really cool. And hanging from the metal structure, because it was a metal structured dome, hanging from the dome by chains was a Kimberly. And they were using it to keep the skiers warm enough at night. I guess they're pretty hardy. They didn't need it to be terribly warm. It was enough.
See, that's the whole thing. It can be anywhere around the world, right?
It's been amazing. It's been amazing.
All right, Christina, go for it.
So I just am pleading with anyone who is watching this to watch Bride Plus One, brideplusone.com. It's something that I'm really proud of. And if you need a reason, it's Hispanic Heritage Month. So in support of that, you can watch it. So brideplusone.com is where you'll see the list of all the hyperlinks of where you can watch it. And then if you want to contact me, so my production company is DancingStarProductions.com. I think Rainbow Warriors is on there. You can see all the projects we have in development. And then ChristinaMoralesHemingway.com is my hub website. So I'm also a presence coach. I do creative direction. You know, like everybody else in this time, we got to just do what we can when we can, when people want it, right?
Absolutely.
So, yeah, that's my plug. Is I really am so proud of this film, and I really thank you, Brian, for having me on and being so willing to so quickly say yes.
Hey, I want to thank everybody. So from Roxy to Terry, unfortunately Terry, now Terry too.
Oh yeah.
Amy, Roger, and so my movie pick of this week is the Vince Carter documentary. I just saw it, literally just finished it about an hour ago. It's really, really good on this guy. Never got into trouble. Everybody liked him. Slam dunk artist, great guy, and he played 22 seasons in the NBA, and he's an executive producer, and it's on Crackle Plus. And it's very, very good. It's called The Vince Carter Legacy. Really, really good documentary. So with that, I want to thank everybody for coming on. And I say this, have a good night tonight, a better day tomorrow. And if you see someone without a smile, please give them one of yours because the world needs it. I'm Brian Sebastian with Movie Reviews and More, and we will see you next week.